Hey y'all, welcome in and welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new video. I asked in my community tab if there is anything you need to be talked out of spending or buying, and y'all delivered. I got so many comments, and now today I'm going to be trying my best to do just that, to talk you out of the things that you said you wanted to be talked out of. Before we get into it, it is worth the disclaimer that some of these things somebody could maybe benefit from, or they may be a good purchase for somebody, but I am focusing on the talking you out of it because that is the ask. That's the topic of today's video. So just want to be clear, it doesn't mean that all of these things are problematic or they couldn't serve some kind of purpose. So if you don't want to be talked out of buying stuff or talked out of stuff, then maybe this isn't the video for you, and that's totally fine. We're going to get into it, and the first one I want to talk about is the Bath & Body Works semi-annual sale. I got a few comments about this specific sale, and I've never talked about Bath & Body Works. I've had a video that has been on the calendar for like 8 months at this point that just keeps getting pushed back and back and back and back about Bath & Body Works. So I saw this one and just how many people had requested it. I think it's time to include it in this video. The Bath & Body Works sale is somewhat iconic, not only because there is such a following for Bath & Body Works, but they have a sale a couple times a year, once if not twice, and they have their semi-annual sale. I've shopped it before, like many years ago, and people know it's coming. Maybe a bit like the Sephora VIP sale. People anticipate it. This sale is huge in the FOMO because it's, once a year, it's limited time, and the prices can be excellent. I was browsing some of it online and there was like $3.95 soaps in Canadian dollars. $3.95? That is a good price. I'm not gonna lie. They bring back like off-season scents. So you can see like a holiday winter scent in this sale in July or June. They also bring back limited edition scents. And I kind of hate that because to me, it's a little bit like the mini brands kind of situation where they introduce scarcity at the time of limited edition, and then they hold it, and then they bring it out at specific times to get you. It's coming out from the vault. You might not ever see it again. Like they are manufacturing scarcity and FOMO. All of this, the limited time for the sale, the low prices, the bringing back of the specific scents is all meant to induce urgency. You'll miss out if you don't shop this sale. And so it's the urgency that I think can compel people to shop it at all, and this fear of missing out that compels people to shop it all without thinking about your current state of things. What does your current body care situation look like? Do you have things that you could use already? How many do you have? Do you actually need body care products or candles or soaps? And do you have money to shop the sale? If you're somebody who, let's say you had a budget, I don't know, say $200, and you buy Bath & Body Works products once a year during the sale, and you basically just, you stock up, you get, let's say, your 5 or 6 items or whatever it is, and then you use them throughout the year and you get to almost zero by the next year, and then you do it again, that's probably fine. But is this really what is enticing you about the sale? Is this your habit or how you actually live? Or do you just want this stuff because it's a great price and there's that limited edition FOMO factor? And did you want these products before the sale started? Or did the sale remind you of Bath & Body Works or remind you of a scent that you've already forgotten about? This specific sale and others like it really thrive on making you feel like you're getting a great deal, which you often are, but it's not actually a deal, and you're not saving money if you're buying things you don't need or buying things you already have. And it's really the sale and the saving money component that I think can entice people to stock up. So maybe you go, you know what, I'm just going to go and get 1 or 2 things. And then you go into the store and then you see that everything's discounted and it's a low price. And then the pleasure starts creeping in, and it feels so good to shop the sale and feel like you're saving money, those 1 or 2 things become 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things. And then all of a sudden you have a cart full of stuff you never actually intended to buy and don't need. If you're tempted by this sale, I think it's helpful to think about, I've already asked some questions, like for the limited edition scents, have you already forgotten about this scent? Have you even thought about this specific scent in the last 3 to 6 months, let alone the last year? Have you thought about it? And how much do you have already? So let's say you have 3 body creams and it takes you 6 months to get through each cream. That's a year and a half worth of product. You could theoretically wait till next year's sale and you would still have room, like you would still have time in your body care to finish it up. Like if you waited till next year, you would buy things before you actually finished up all of your stuff. Just for me personally, doing some of this math and to see how long it would take me to finish stuff up does help me get a grip. Honestly, they're like, oh, I have 3 years worth of product. I really don't actually need more of X product because I have more than enough already. And what we're doing is just delaying how long it takes to use up our stuff. There's always something new to want. That's the thing. There's always something new to want. There's always something new and exciting out there. And I promise you, you will be fine without the limited edition scent. It's at the end of the day like a body gel, a body cream. Those are not rare products or rare commodities. They are quite ubiquitous. They're everywhere. Yeah, it's the scent that makes them special for sure, but it's a body cream. You will be fine using what you have. The next time we're going to talk about our curly hair products. So this commenter says, hair products for my curly hair. I have way too many already, but I keep buying them in search of a holy grail. The idea of a holy grail is kind of sneaky because it keeps you in a perpetual state of shopping. What if the next thing is better? What if the next thing is better? And you can keep buying things even when you already have a completely full shelf of products, regardless of what it is. It is extra sneaky because it keeps us okay with consistently and constantly buying new things. We're not thinking about what we already have or how it works or how long it would take to use up that specific product or what we already have. It is a bit of a try in my opinion, because we're only thinking about the product itself and the initial application. We're not actually thinking about the experience of using the product, right? Like what we want is to see how it works and potentially how it stacks up to other products, which only really implies a 1 to 2, maybe 3 time use. It may feel like you're just being thorough and trying to find the right products for you. I think in some cases this can be like indulging a fantasy and not function or not consider real life. I'm not saying this is what the OP is saying or what the OP is doing. I'm not accusing them of anything. I just think that the Holy Grail itself is an illusion and a fantasy, because are you imagining something that is actually realistic? And what do you expect a Holy Grail product to do? And like, does that thing actually exist? Are you expecting miracles or have realistic expectations? I know that when I used to do this, I would look for, like I did this a lot with mattifying foundations, and I thought that I could find a mattifying foundation that was, mattifying in full coverage that would keep my skin matte the whole day. Yeah, that did not exist. I could get like 4 to 6 hours maybe from like the best products, but nothing really more than that. And it's true that some products can be truly terrible, but is the best version of that thing, is it capable of doing what you expect? Is it really all that different from what you currently have? And how is collecting more options really going to serve you? Because if you have 10 products and you just keep buying more, and then within a month you now have 15, are those products so bad and so unusable, like you couldn't actually use them? Or are you now accumulating so many products that it would take you years to finish? And when is enough enough? Like, would you actually know that you stumbled across your Holy Grail product? Or would you just keep searching? Because I think this is why it is an illusion. You can always have in the back of your mind, what if there's something else out there? What if there's something better? So my question is, what is better? What is the thing you're actually looking for? So I truly ask you, and this is a genuine question, and not something rhetorical. Are there gaps or deficiencies in your routine or your current products? And if so, what are they? In what ways is your current routine or current products not working? What's not good enough about what you already have? Or do you have lovely things, things that are usable and great or even good, that you're just more theoretically thinking about, oh, what else is out there? If you have a lot of stuff that is usable that you would like to use, there are ways to potentially gamify using what you have. So to make using what you have maybe a little bit more fun and gamifying it, what I think you could do to maybe approach this in more of like an assessing way, if you're thinking about comparing products and is this one better than the other one, what you could do is turn your existing products into like a little bit of a research project of sorts. So you can catalog all of your products, create a table. Maybe you could do it by type. So you have like one table for like mousses, one for gels, or whatever products you're using. Then you can create a rating system for your products, and you can rate each product based on factors. I'll have a screenshot like definition or hold, and then you can rate them out of maybe like 5 stars or 10 stars. And then every time you try a product that you already have, you can look at these categories and rate them. So even if there is deficiencies in what you already have, you're now creating like an actual tool to help you figure out what's not already working, and then or what's not working, and find something better. But then you have a better understanding of your specific products. I know that's not going to be everybody's jam. You might be like, oh, that's a colossal waste of time. That's totally fine. But I think that maybe something like this could appeal to some folks. Next up are jelly sandals. The poster says shoes, specifically jelly sandals or flats. I know they're not practical, but they're cute and nostalgic. Jelly sandals really do give me like a 90s, early 2000s vibes. I had them as a child myself, and I think about them like they give me nostalgia too. Jelly sandals though are like walking blisters because they're usually 100% plastic. Walking in those is not that comfortable because there's usually very little support, but it becomes really slippery really fast, especially if it's hot out and there's nothing to absorb the sweat or absorb the moisture because it's plastic. They smell like plastic, they can be uncomfortable, and they can get hot and kind of soft, because you typically wear them in the summer. They can also be uncomfortable or impractical if you get them wet or if you get sand in them. They also tend to discolor fairly easily because they're made of a clear plastic. Think about like a clear plastic phone case. This is a classic example of nostalgic consumption where we buy things that emotionally connect us to versions of our past self. That's not a bad thing, but it's also not a reason to spend money on something that's going to blister your feet or melt in the sun. So I think you can ask yourself, do I actually want this? Or do I want what this reminds me of? Or do I want the feeling that this reminds me of? You can honor your nostalgia without making a purchase, or at least without buying a pair of shoes that will eventually live under your bed after a few wears. A question you could ask yourself would be, are there other ways to experience this nostalgia or experience the feeling that this gives me, like youthfulness or freeness or playfulness? And what are some other ways I can experience that nostalgia or those feelings? Maybe instead of buying the jelly shoes, you have like a 90s movie marathon, or you put together a 90s playlist, or like you watch shows from your childhood or favorite songs from your childhood. Sometimes for me, watching childhood shows really scratches the itch. I sometimes watch a Magic School Bus. I think the last time I watched it was like this past winter. It scratches an itch, Next up is the Aritzia summer sale. Because Aritzia is a bit of an expensive store, I do understand the appeal of the sale here specifically. And when you see like a $98 linen pant marked down to $70 or even $60, you could be like, oh wow, that's such a great deal. But a $70 pant is still a $70 pant. You're still spending $70. And although price matters, which we'll talk about more in just a second, did you want any of these things before the sale? Like, were you actively looking for a linen pant or some shorts? Or did you start scrolling on the Aritzia website once you started hearing that the sale is coming, or because you know it's coming, and then you're looking for things to want? Looking for things to want is not a need. It's looking for things to want. it's going to shopping because of other things other than the stuff. Also, if there is stuff that you're actively wanting, like maybe you've already done the scrolling and there's some pants that you want or maybe some tops, now would be the time to go through your closet to see what you have, to like touch and play and create outfits with what you already have. There's a chance that there's maybe like a little bit of boredom here, but it could also just be excitement because of a sale. And sometimes just getting in touch with the things you already have helps you see that you have really great stuff already. And sometimes with Aritzia specifically, Aritzia, I feel like sells this like cool girl vibe. And I also think it's worth wondering, are you actively interested in the item or the vibe or like how you think you'll be if you own this thing? Aritzia already has a lackluster return policy, which is also worse during the sale. If you buy something in store, it's final sale. If you buy it online, it's exchange for store credit only. Lastly, Aritzia is often overpriced for what you're getting. And so, yes, as I was mentioning, that the sale can make it extra exciting, but like Aritzia is hit and miss. I find personally that they do use a lot of synthetics and then charge high prices for those. And they also do a lot of this is linen or a linen blend, and then the thing is not actually 100% linen or primarily linen. You need to check the fabric contents first of all, but often, just like my own experience shows me, that quite often the price does not justify what I'm seeing in the fabrics and the finishing. And there is a fabulous secondhand market for Aritzia. I do love Aritzia. I'm a big fan, but I find their stuff the best on the secondhand marketplace. And there's so much Aritzia out there on the secondhand marketplace. You can check Poshmark or Vinted or Depop or Mercari, wherever it is that you shop. There's lots of it out there. All of this is worth mentioning because Aritzia, I feel like, really rests on their image and like the vibe that they sell, and that does not always match the quality of what you get, even on sale. And if we're looking for sale prices, you can find a lot of stuff new with tags on secondhand marketplaces. Next up is Amazon Prime Day, and somebody says Amazon Prime Day is coming up and the app keeps announcing it. Last year, I went way overboard. I can already feel myself wanting to make a list of things. I do understand the appeal of Prime specifically in the sense that you can buy a whole range of stuff on Amazon Prime, from beauty products to home goods and clothes, and there's like a lot of things on there. And I think in some respects, making a list of things and like preparing is, or can sound like a smart thing to do, so you can prepare your budget and think thoughtfully about the things that you want. But there is a difference between preparing and pre-justifying. This can turn into, as I mentioned with the other sales, looking for things to want, going out of your way looking for things to buy because they're on sale. It is worth mentioning thousands of times that shopping a sale is not saving money because you are still spending the money for the item. And then, this turns into what else can I get? What else can I get? And then scrolling for more things to want. A lot of people already shop on Amazon and have habits built into Amazon. And, Amazon makes it so easy to check out. You can check out on like 1 or 2 clicks. And that's how our cart ends up $200, $300, $400 worth of stuff that we'll have forgotten about in a year or two's time. You're not alone though. Last year, Amazon made $12 billion off of Prime Day. The marketing for Prime Day is very heavy. I myself do see it. And like Amazon is one of the biggest corporations in the entire world with marketing budgets like we would probably not believe. They can afford to market 4 weeks ahead of time to get you excited and anticipating the sale. I was also speaking to somebody on Instagram, Bronwyn actually. We were talking about the lightning deals and how like lightning deals are, they happen outside of Prime Day, but they are very heavy on Prime Day as well. And they routinely, this also happens outside of lightning deals, where products will be marked up for Prime Day and then slashed. So the list price might be like $49.99, but for Prime Day, it's $29.99. But if you bought that product a month ago, the regular price is just $29.99. So it looks like a bargain and you think you're getting a deal, but you're not. So the deal tempting you to shop Prime Day, the sales that are happening, and you go, oh my God, that's such a good deal, makes you want to shop, is not real. And on top of that, Prime Day is extra big. I mean, like, there are Aritzia influencers and Bath and Body Works influencers, but there are far more Amazon Prime influencers. Or Amazon influencers. It's 100% worth noting that they make money on Prime Day. They make money on all of the Prime, like all of the deals. They have a vested interest in making this content, and Amazon often gives their influencers like increased commissions for Prime Day. So they have extra incentive to make the content and to highlight the daily deals or the flash deals or whatever it is. Prime Day is a marketing event and it's not a holiday. You don't owe it any money, and it may truly not be in your best interest to shop it if you have a history of not shopping it responsibly. If you're looking for a wake-up call, go to your Amazon account from 2 to 3 years ago. Look at everything you bought, calculate how many things you bought and how much the cost of that year was. Now, look at how many of those things you can actually remember and if you still own them. Because a lot of people, well, yeah, they might buy useful things on Amazon. It can also be a place for useless crap that you don't need, never needed, and forget about. Amazon, lastly, is a $1 trillion company. They make billions of dollars every single year, and they absolutely have questionable ethics, from union busting to subpar working conditions for their employees. Oh, I mean, the list goes on and on. People who benefit from Prime Day are not the workers, it's the shareholders. That's how a lot of companies work, but Amazon is a giant, and I think the ethics of that can be worth considering. Next up is home decor for a new place. So this person says, I'm moving soon and I need to be talked out of buying random apartment decor I don't need. If you're moving, I totally get that it's an exciting time. And it's exciting because moving to a new place is exciting. And I think also what can get us are maybe the possibilities of the new place. Like if you've had an idea for like what you wanted your home to look like, you get a new opportunity, you get new possibilities. Let me remind you that you do not inherently need a single thing just because you're moving. Moving alone does not necessitate a purchase. Your specific place may come with a specific need or requirement, right? Like if you, for example, only have a stand-up shower with a glass door and you move into a place with a bathtub and you don't have a shower curtain, yeah, buying a shower curtain is probably a good idea. But moving itself does not require anything. It's a specific place that like might have some adjustments that are needed or wanted. But one of the things that get us is just it's the excitement. It's the excitement over the new place and the new opportunities, and how a lot of us express our excitement is by buying stuff. And moving can make us feel like we should buy things for our new place. The thing is that a lot of the stuff that you already have was purchased for a reason, or like you accepted, or like maybe got from a friend or family for a reason. It serves a purpose, and is that purpose no longer relevant in your new place? Like, let's say you have a kitchen table. There's a chair right here. Does your kitchen table stop being functional in your new place? In a lot of cases, no. Your kitchen table is still a kitchen table you can still eat off of in your new place. You know, your shelves are still your shelves. And also, I think sometimes size can impact things too. Like if you move into a bigger home, that can make you feel like you need to decorate all of the shelves or walls with art, or get a coffee table and put stuff on it, which is not necessary. But if you are going to purchase some things, I do think it is worth keeping in mind that you do not need to do it all at once. It is perfectly okay to move into your new place, suss out the situation, see how you live, see how things go, right? Maybe you're like, you know what, maybe my dining table, isn't going to be great for the new space. Instead of preemptively buying a new dining table, or you have a bigger living room and you want to now buy a bigger coffee table, instead of doing that, move into your new space, see how it looks, see how it operates, see how you feel. And then at that point, if something is missing, if something is not working, you know. And also, if we live in our space for a little bit, we can let the excitement that may be clouding our judgment, that can dissipate a little bit. Or maybe we're more down to earth or more practical or more realistic, and we can suss out our needs from our wants, or we're no longer in that excitable state, which it does impact our emotions, and we're no longer in a heightened emotional state, so we can be more realistic about things, or even our budget. Not buying new things or using what you have does not mean you're missing out. And it's quite often these things that we got like secondhand or came to us in a way, like somebody gave you a table, or I don't know, something like that, that makes our house our house. I personally love a thing with a story. I love a story. All right, let's move on, and we're now going to talk about a pair of running shoes. Somebody says New Balance runners. I've been seeing so many cool girls on my morning commute wearing them, and they look comfy, but I need to not spend money. I'm saving for a house. In my opinion, you're not buying the shoes, you're buying a vibe. What this sounds like to me is thinking that girls are cool and associating their coolness with a specific item, the sneaker. And so what this again sounds like, I could be wrong, but what it sounds like is trying to get that vibe via the shoe. Right? So you see them and you go like, oh wow, they look effortless, or they look put together, or they look cool, and you want a slice of that for yourself. So it's not about the shoe, it's your perception of the person, or the kind of person who wears that specific item. And so it's not about the shoe, like your specific shoes being worn out or uncomfortable or wanting to replace them. So your shoes are fine, because I feel like if they weren't, maybe you would mention that. Like, oh, I want to replace my shoes, and I see these shoes and they're kind of cool girl shoes, so they seem like a good deal or like a good fit. Buying new things is not actually going to make us feel differently about ourselves. That's just my own experience anyway. And I have done this myself with like blazers. That's a classic example, or specific shirts or pants or makeup. And I think that buying this thing is going to make me feel differently about myself. But I can tell you with experience, that has only ever lasted like this long. Nothing I've ever purchased has made me fundamentally feel differently about myself, like feel cool or glamorous or something like that. What would be like changing my perception, like certain clothes that, like bodysuits as an example, I didn't think I could wear, or tight fitting dresses. And I've tried some of those on, and doing that has allowed me to change how I see myself, or just learning to accept my body. That is not what we're talking about here. Overall, though, like new clothes have not changed my vibe or my perception of my vibe. I've never permanently felt, like a cool girl. All this kind of stuff is like going to stuff to fulfill like emotional needs, or being tempted by all the other things besides the stuff, And I also wonder, like, I think it's worth asking, have you done this before with other things? Have you purchased something because of the vibe or how you want to appear? And have clothes or shoes or accessories actually made you feel differently about yourself? Last up are more board games. This person says, more board games / party games, especially as I don't get to see my friends in person very much, so the ones I have barely get used. Board games are fun. I do enjoy a party game too, and I think maybe it can feel like a wholesome or fun way to like be with your friends in home. Essentially, it's something kind of social and also a way to bring people together. But I think it's worth asking, do you actually want a new board game? And would this board game bring something different that your other ones don't have? Or is the board game itself filling a void, or are you trying to patch something in your own life with a thing? It's like, do you like the idea of being somebody who has new board games or who plays board games, or imagining what you think the new board game is going to do for the friend group? Am I romanticizing the board game, what they would do for my friends. Like maybe I can potentially see like, oh, if I get a new board game, maybe my friends will come over, maybe we'll play it, or it's a great exciting way to bring everybody together. OP says, especially I don't get to see my friends in person very much. I can potentially see here the using the board games to bring people together, or maybe fill a void of the friendship. Not saying this is the case. And so it could be that the board game is more representative of other things that you're trying to achieve or fill that's not really about the board game. So trying to fill boredom by buying stuff, or maybe some sadness about the friend group or not seeing your friends as much. Or if you buy the new board games, maybe they'll come. Also, have you and your friend group played all of your board games? Is the friend group really over the board games that you already have? And if you played, let's say, this one game a year ago, is that like, does that mean that your friend group wouldn't enjoy playing it again? What can potentially be at play with something like this could be maybe similar to outfit repeating, where you recall all of the wears of your outfits or all the times you played your board games, which make you feel like you need more, like you need constant newness and novelty to keep things fresh and exciting. Like, is that really happening? Do they not want to play it? Is that the vibe? If your current shelf or offerings full of stuff that you actually play and use, more options may not make things more fun. You might just end up with a pretty box that nobody touches. I think something to consider might be, what are some ways to mix things up? Maybe you pick board games out of a hat, or a spinner. So you put them, like all of your board games on a piece of paper, pull them one out of the hat, and that's the one that you play. I know it's not necessarily an original example, but there's so many things like that. Or maybe each person gets to pick their game, or maybe each friend brings a game and then you pick out of there, or something like that. I know that there's other options I'm not mentioning, but I do think that there's fun ways to like spice it up while using what you have. So that's everything for me today. I hope I did a decent job talking you out of buying new things. Let me know how I did in the comments. And if you're somebody who's watching and you have suggestions for any of these items or any of these categories, I would love to hear it. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again around here soon for a new video. Bye.